Yo, yo, yo. Listen, I've been gone for a long, long time, and I have been wondering how are y'all surviving in this crazy, crazy moment when Donald Trump's president again? And also, um, I just wanted to talk on Friday night since I'm sitting in the house doing nothing, limited in my mobility because of my accident. I figured in this moment, I'll give people quick little updates on what happened in the past week so that you don't walk out in the world and get trapped up or tripped up by some MAGA cap. And by that, I mean something that's fake, something that's not real, some old bullshit that's being spread either by mainstream media, Benjamin Netanyahu, or Donald Trump, or all of them. And in some cases, even established Democrats. So let's get right into it. We had a great week when it comes to politics, not because of the outcome of the politics or how they were ruled on from our Supreme Court. Definitely going to talk about that. Um, but just because it was extremely busy and things were not boring. So we got to see American politics on display at how dysfunctional, how stupid, and how ridiculous we are showing up right now. Let me start by saying, before I even get into what we're going to talk about this evening, I won't be here long, but just know that I actually launched my Substack this week. Yep. So please go subscribe. Please share this. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead and follow and subscribe and like this video. So here we go. Regardless of where you're liking it or watching it at, please subscribe. But if you're on Substack, share and follow me. Subscribe to me on Substack because I'm going to be writing a lot over there going forward, getting away from Elon's Twitter. So let's talk about it. Let me go post first. First, of course, we're going to talk about the strike on Iran based off of Benjamin Netanyahu's intelligence, not American intelligence. Of course, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court and all of their dysfunction. Of course, we're going to talk about New York mayoral primary, the Democratic primary. Of course, we're going to talk about Republican Party and their strategies to get past or get this one big, beautiful, stupid, whatever they're calling Donald Trump's massive omnibus bill passed before 4th of July. Of course, we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to end on some stupidness. We're going to end on some pop culture stuff, mainly one topic, Jim Jones. And then we're going to do something I'm going to start doing weekly, which are called the Weaklings of the Week. We're going to have 2 of those every week. So let's get right into it. Again, subscribe wherever you're following me, subscribe, but make sure you subscribe on Substack because I'm going to be writing a lot over there. Yo, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but back when Donald Trump was not president, back when he was talking about Barack Obama when he was president, he said something that was extremely, extremely interesting. He said because Barack Obama was weak and he wanted to look strong and he couldn't negotiate, that Barack Obama was going to bomb Iran. Fast forward to now, I don't know if y'all remember it in history, but Barack Obama never bombed Iran. He bombed a lot of places, specifically where there were black and brown people, talking about Barack Obama, but he never bombed Iran. Donald Trump, however, because he can't negotiate and because he will not miss an opportunity to be stupid or made to look stupid on the international stage, he took Benjamin Netanyahu's ploy, the same ploy that led Bush into Iraq with false intelligence, even though when his own, talking about Donald Trump, own intelligence community told him that Iran was not trying to produce a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump took Benjamin Netanyahu's ploy and bombed Iran. Here's the sad part. The bombs that he dropped were most likely ineffective. They did not obliterate what Iran's nuclear capacity could be or was or is. And we know that for a fact, even though Donald Trump ran straight to social media, straight to the media and said just that. Iran's nuclear capacity has not been obliterated. We know that. The sad part about it is we spent so much on that one little midnight escapade to drop bombs on Iran to look like we were strong, to look like Donald Trump was in effect being a strong leader, when in actuality, he's an idiot following idiots. The idiot mainly is Stephen Miller, I said it, and also Benjamin Netanyahu. Listen, we know for a fact, not just because Iran said so, we heard Democratic senators come out of the briefing, the intelligence briefing, and saying the same thing. Iran has been set back. That is absolutely correct. They suffered damage. That is absolutely correct, but not obliterated. So why is the president going on TV lying to Americans about what was the outcome of a bomb dropping, a bomb escapade that cost us a lot of money? Hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions, probably, if you consider the cost it cost to fly B-52s, what it cost to drop those bombs, how expensive those bombs were, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All to end up right where Barack Obama had us with Iran in the first place. Back in a nuclear deal that Donald Trump forced Iran out of because Barack Obama had negotiated. Now he's trying to force them back in that. And he's actually offering them, from what we hear, back channel deals, billions of dollars, to the tunes of 30s of more billions of dollars is what Iran is going to get from Donald Trump's stupidity. This is where we find ourselves at right now with your president, y'all president. Y'all voted for him. That happened in America. We bombed Iran based on Netanyahu's intelligence, not American. And here's the dumb part of all of these American first people. What do you think it do or does or whatever to Americans and how American intelligence look to our allies when the president says we can't trust American intelligence, we have to trust Israelis' intelligence when we're about to bomb someone? Not to mention the president didn't go to Congress to go to war like he did, which is also anti-constitutional. He didn't go to Congress to seek that. Donald Trump did not. He just bombed. He just bombed Iran ineffectively and expensively. So what do you think happens to the standing of American intelligence community when our allies see that our president will sidewall or sideline his own intelligence to listen to Benjamin Netanyahu? That's American first, I guess. So that's what happened with Iran and America this week. That happened. But people, that ain't all that happened. Donald Trump, and I call it Donald Trump Supreme Court because that's how they show up. Donald Trump Supreme Court gave us something crazy. Crazy. Now, in their ruling, and I know the world keeps saying this is a critique or this is an attack on birthright citizenship. This is not what happened. They did, however, attack something crazier. National injunctions. And people might say, oh, this is not just on Republicans. Some Democrats feel some type of way about injunctions and the ability to have one district, one federal district making rules or laws for the entire country. But here's why I say we need national injunctions when we are debating where the laws are in this country. Because what we're about to get with birthright citizenship is piecemeal, and piecemeal's legislation does not benefit anybody. I shouldn't say legislation. Laws does not benefit anybody, especially when it comes to determining who's an American and who's not an American. The Supreme Court 6-3 ruling just allowed all conservative districts across this country to say that if you are an illegal, that's not my terms, those are their terms. If you do not have paperwork, then you have a child here, that child may not be an American, depending on where they are born. This is why it is so dangerous and stupid to go against national injunctions in this moment for the Supreme Court. You would think the Supreme Court knew what Donald Trump's administration is trying to do. Some people are saying, well, this is just going to be the case until the case reaches the Supreme Court. Well, if I was Donald Trump's administration, and I am not, and I promise you this is what they're going to do, Why would they be in a hurry to get this case to the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court has already ruled in this manner? If the Supreme Court has already said that districts can't determine national injunctions, if I was Donald Trump's administration, I wouldn't be pushing trying to get this. I would just find me a venue that's friendly to the way I see the law, a conservative venue, and take it there and get those judges to agree with me and let that be the case. This is the danger of what the Supreme Court ruled on today. This is how stupid our Supreme Court looks right now. We're about to have piecemeal legislation on what is and what's not an American citizen, or who is and who's not an American citizen. America, 2025. For all those people who said that the liberals, that progressives, that the Democrats were actually crazy, and we were trying to fearmonger people to go vote because we said all of this was possible. I want to know how y'all feel 6 months in. Y'all are some Bamas that deserve everything you're getting. Even your grandmother's Social Security might be cut off because of your vote. And y'all think that too might be fear-mongering or hyperbole, even though we see it happening, even though you hear Republicans coming forward, like Tom Tillis, who's afraid of what's going to happen. But we're going to get back to that when we talk about Republican strategies and what they're about to do. But before we do get to that, the most ironic, I believe, the most ironic law, or should I call it law? Not law yet, but it will be, because what we see is we see people getting in line, locking step to get rid of all the normalcy that is around or surrounding universities in this country. So it's not law yet, but what we see is a pattern forming. Donald Trump, of course, we can't take anything he say to be true, but we hear Donald Trump talking about the fact that he's about to have a deal with Harvard. But put that aside. Let's talk about what happened at Thomas Jefferson University. And that's what I call it. Thomas Jefferson, who used slave labor to help build the University of Virginia, one of the top schools in this country. Watch. Let's talk about what happened. Today, we saw the president of the University of Virginia, James Ryan, who said that he was going to end his tenure anyway next year. We watched him submit his resignation papers because of the pressure. Watch this now. I just told you it was Thomas Jefferson University. I also told you that Thomas Jefferson used slave labor to build the University of Virginia. And also up until, 50 years ago, Virginia, the state of Virginia, University of Virginia, and other schools in that state would actually give Black people scholarships to go to schools outside of the state so they could keep that school as white as possible. The man who was trying to address this, James Ryan, tendered his resignation today because of pressure. Check this out. From the Civil Rights Division of Donald Trump's Department of Justice. Why is that ironic? Well, it's ironic because the Civil Rights Division was created in 1957 as part of the Civil Rights Act to protect every American's citizen's right, constitutional right to equitable treatment in all of the institutions in this country, especially those that were most vulnerable. Now, this man, James Ryan, was forced out by the board, by the pressure from the Civil Rights Division, by Donald Trump's Department of Justice, because instead of getting rid of DEI, he was expanding his. He was the one who put up statues to honor those Black bodies that helped build the University of Virginia. He put up that memorial. He talked about the history, the muddied history of the University of Virginia and Thomas Jefferson. And because some of those conservative folk that were alumni to the school didn't like him, and they had ties to this administration and the Justice Department, they used that to push him out. Push him clean the fuck out. This is your America. This is what we are right now. The Civil Rights Department at the Department of Justice I'm sorry, the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice is being used to do the work of the Klan, to hide and bury the legacy of the very people in which they were designed and created to protect in 2025. This is a sad day, not just for civil rights or constitutional rights, but if you are Black in America and you hear this, your palms should begin to sweat. Your soul should shake, because you know, not just that because the 15th Amendment or the 14th Amendment or the 13th or the 8th or the 10th or the 2nd or the 1st, for Black people, all of those amendments are under attack under this administration. But just because the very fact that your existence is being blotted out in real time. In real time. And I don't want to make this a critique about Black MAGA, but I damn sure want to remind people that there is a such thing as Black MAGA. And that in itself should be disgusting enough to scare the hell out of all of us and remind us why Harriet Tubman kept a loaded gun. That's right. Guys, if you think that's crazy, our party, and when I say our party, I'm talking about progressives, liberals, and even the conservative Democrats. If you're a registered Democrat, I'm talking about us. We held a primary this week, y'all. We held a primary this week. And boy, did it make some people upset. Progressives won. And establishment Democrats lost their mind. They were talking about the endorsement from Clinton, the endorsement from Clyburn. And all we saw was the establishment taking ass whooping that they didn't expect. And what they keep saying is, oh, Mondale won because of white and brown voters, not because of Black voters. So now what they want you to believe is this man won the majority Black districts. All of them. All of them. But Black people didn't have a role in it. First of all, it's the primary, so we know voter turnout is low. We also know New York has one of the most restrictive primaries. They need to fix that in this country, the most restrictive. So this so-called progressive state make it extremely impossible for working class Black and brown people to damn near participate in a primary in a state that is considered and calling itself the most progressive or one of the most progressive states. That's first order of business. The second order of business is I want to call in my establishment brothers and sisters, my conservative Democrats. Ain't y'all the Bamas that told us after Bernie lost that we need to get in line because we had a primary and we lost? We lost the primary, so we need to support the candidate. Why does that not apply when progressive win? Why? Why is it now that so many Democrats are talking about divorcing the party? We're starting to see this as a pattern with y'all. When Barack Obama beat Hillary Clinton, and listen, let me say this before somebody misunderstand what I'm saying. Barack Obama, the president, hell no, he was not a progressive. Barack Obama, the candidate for, or I should say against Hillary Clinton, was better, was more progressive. Let's just stop that right now. He's not a progressive. He was more progressive than Hillary Clinton. But when he beat Hillary Clinton, we saw some of y'all leave. Now, y'all are leaving, threatening to leave the party, or worse, vote for Eric Adams. I thought y'all made him the devil last week. Now, all of a sudden, because of progressive win, y'all want to talk about what's not possible. Because y'all put up another Andrew, another Cuomo. It's unbelievable how the establishment use electability as a weapon against progressives, Black people, brown people, Muslims, and women, specifically Black women. Now the person who mollywop y'all candidate. We just watched Mondale mollywop y'all candidate. And now y'all can tell us he's not electable. If he ain't electable, what the hell was Andrew Cuomo? Y'all have to, there needs to be an acknowledgement of a few things. One, this is not a boomer electorate anymore. New York has one of the youngest electorates in the country. 60% of the voters in New York are under 50 years old. That's the first thing. Secondly, your consultant class continues to lie to y'all, talking to the Democratic Party. The tactics you use to win our grandparents' vote will not be the way we win elections going forward. The young people are continually telling you they are turned off by your tasteless tactics. The patterns and path that you all have used going back to when Bill Clinton won are not tactics that's going to win you any elections, statewide, in major cities, or in the national elections. Hear me clearly. Specifically for Black men, it does not work. Don't try to entertain Black folk out. You continue to call James Clyburn a kingmaker. Y'all believe that James Clyburn gave Joe Biden the South. That's because you don't have intimate relationship with Black voters. And the Black consultants you know, talking about the party and the consultant class, you know them from another white person. Black people didn't refer them to you. And that's the sad truth. Black people that are living amongst and with Black people doing the work to turn out Black people know damn well that Clyburn's reach did not give Joe Biden the South. Clyburn can't even turn out Black men in his own district. Majority of the Black men in Clyburn's district have never voted for him. He couldn't turn out the Black men in South Carolina to give Jamie Scott, another Black man, a Senate seat. Yet y'all think he had enough sway that he gave y'all Arkansas, that he gave Biden Arkansas, Georgia, Virginia, Florida. Come on, guys. Where's the thought in that? You have so little belief, understanding, or willingness to invest in Black people outside of those that make you comfortable that y'all buy into these bullshit narratives. Clyburn is not a kingmaker. He is an old Black man that is, if he's ever challenged with a real field game, the 20,000 or 30,000 Black people that turn out to vote for him in the primary will not be enough to save his seat. That's what y'all are afraid of. Even the highest ranking Black person or Democrat in general in the House is winning elections, talking about Hakeem Jeffrey with 20 or 30,000 votes in primaries and nobody in the general election in districts with 400,000 and 500,000 people. Let's be serious. Y'all talking about the establishment part of my party. Y'all need to get serious, or we're going to continue to be chasing these white-leaning Democrats, or we're going to continue to create think tanks to learn how to talk like young voters, young men, which is also a racist tactic because you should be trying to talk to young Black men. Because what we see is that white men are showing up like white men, and they've not voted for us in large numbers in a long time. By long, I mean since y'all allow Black people to be a part of the party. That's why Ronald Reagan, Strom Thurmond, and the other racist Democrats left the party and become Republicans. Y'all got to get serious, or we're going to continue to lose elections. We don't need to lose. I'm just keeping it a buck with you right now. And I don't want to sound like I'm preaching at y'all and that I'm not engaging with the audience. This is my first Friday words with the mayor, so I just want to get it all in. But don't get upset, people. I see your comments. I promise you, in the future, I'm gonna talk back at those comments. But I got a lot of stuff on my chest I need to give y'all this week. I need to give you this week because the party. I'm hearing people talk about the party's lost. We don't got a leader. This is not that generation. Everybody in the world believe that they're leaders. We're not looking for a leader. That's not what these voters, our base, is telling us. Trying to find a personality to fill a gap tells me that y'all have not done social understanding of your base. Talking to the Democratic Party again. We're not looking for leaders. We're looking for candidates and a party that speak to what's ailing us in a way that's real and not 3,000 feet from the sky. We're looking for people that show up outside of election cycles that are providing solution to the problem that's killing our family members, that's starving our children, that's keeping our wives, husbands, sisters, brothers, cousins, and uncles and aunts from being properly jobbed, employed. Until we become that party, we will always be lost in the wind. It's serious, people. I'm talking to you. Get serious. We are doing a horrible job. And so now we've demonized Muslim again to the point that it feels like 9/11 for our Muslim brothers and sisters in a city that saw what happened during 9/11. We are back to that point. This brother, Mamdani, has suffered more Muslim hate than damn near anybody in New York since 9/11. And Democrats, I've yet to see any establishment Democrats or the party or any what y'all call party leaders speak up like you would have if it was somebody of Jewish descent. Let's get serious. What's going on? This is our nominee for mayor of the largest city in the world. And y'all are ready to turn your back because your candidate didn't win. How is the establishment going to look progressives in the face and think that's going to sit well? How the hell do y'all think y'all going to run a party like that? Who you think is going to be a part of a party like that? Y'all ain't no better than Jink Unger. Y'all should just turn the Democratic Party, if this is going to be the case, into TYT, because that's how y'all acting right now. Get in line, is what y'all told us. You lost the primary. Y'all should be knocking on doors. Y'all should demand Andrew Cuomo go knock on doors for the person who just whooped his ass, because that's what a party does after the primary. You dust yourself off and you get in line. Unless y'all are capping, and it doesn't apply when progressive win. And then we got a whole nother conversation on our hands. That's what happened in our party this week. I mean, y'all are talking about supporting Adams. Billionaires are coming out talking about how good Adams is. I heard somebody say, I am not lying. Somebody said this. If we don't support Adams, all the rich people are going to leave New York. You think the rich people in New York are benefiting the poor people? Tell the people in some of the, what's the poorest district? It happens to be the blackest district too. Yeah, ask Torres, it's his district. People, the average household income or the average cost of house in that district is over $400,000. And people are making less than $40,000 on average in that black and brown district. You think those people are benefiting from what's happening on Wall Street? We are sick. We're sick when we start talking like Republicans. We're sick when we start believing that billionaires need to be protected from progressives who might threaten to offer free busing, who's calling into account the fact that we need real police reform in a city that is famous for profiling black people. Really? You upset because he said defund the police? You upset because he's calling for socialism in a way that benefits the least amongst us? You're upset because he want to do citywide rent control in one of the most expensive cities? Who told you the base don't support that? Who told you the base don't support that? Y'all sound like rich Wall Street people. That's why we're losing elections that we shouldn't be losing. Because y'all mentality is that of the rich class, and y'all don't want to say it, even though most of us ain't rich. We out here struggling, and y'all out here doing the bidding for billionaires. Really? Republicans telling their candidate to drop out so they can unify behind Eric Adams, and y'all getting behind that? Wow. Somebody said if he beats Cuomo, this is what happened before the primary, before Tuesday. Somebody said if he wins, there's no way he's going to win across New York. That's interesting. Progressive candidate talking about progressive ideas can't win in a progressive city. Because y'all want to smell like Republicans? Because y'all proximity to money? Because he's calling into question all of the richness that does not trickle down in New York, that stays at the top floor of the Empire State Building or one plaza, whatever it's called. Y'all, what's wrong with y'all? Democrats. Y'all making the hoteps on y'all making the hoteps on Twitter sound like y'all shit is that they right. Y'all make the hoteps on Twitter sound like they right. Then if y'all show up like what I think y'all gonna show up in New York, y'all making them hoteps sound right. Y'all sound like Dr. Umar Johnson at this point. Anybody but progressives is what y'all sound like. I'm all for New York right now. Listen, this is my last serious topic before I get to the pop culture stuff. Listen, I don't know if y'all been paying attention about this big, beautiful bill or what's going on. First of all, shout out to the parliamentarian in the Senate. Shout out. Took out some stuff that said, oh, you can't do this. You can't charge people. Did you know? Did y'all know that? $1,000 to put in an application for asylum? They were trying in Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. They was trying to put $1,000 fee on asylum seekers. If Donald Trump's $5 million gold card citizenship wasn't enough, they trying to people that are running for their political life because of being threatened in their home country, come into America seeking protection, the protection that's spelled out on the palm the palm of the Statue of Liberty. The huddled masses were about to be charged $1,000 to seek asylum in this country. They said, "No, you can't do that." They took out some more amendments. But what's going to happen though? Y'all are going to go out there and pop off fireworks, and the Senate's going to pass this thing, and then they're going to be in reconciliation. And Donald Trump's going to get his big, beautiful bill that is absolutely horrible and horrendous, and it's not beautiful at all. And it's going to kill people in rural spaces, and that is not hyperbole. Rural hospitals will close because of the cuts to Medicaid. People in rural spaces will be less safe. The sad part about this is majority of the rural spaces in this country are home to Donald Trump voters. But these people don't care about policy. They care about whiteness. Their definition, Donald Trump's voters' definition of patriotism is whiteness. They proved that. They reelected someone who mocked veterans, disabled veterans, POWs. Their definition of patriotism is what and how you protect whiteness. This is why the war on DEI is real, and the Civil Rights Department or the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice is being weaponized against DEI. DEI. Education is not important to people that want you to sleep. Education is not important to people who is launching a war against woke. They want you zombified. The best way to do that is in the Department of Education. And let the rich that can afford education pay for their kids' education. And they'll subsidize the ones that can't, the middle class white folk. They can go back to teaching the lost cause strategy that got people still believing in 2025 that Southern states weren't fighting to maintain slavery, even though those Southern states said it in their secession documents. These people fly Confederate flags and call themselves patriots of the United States. That's whiteness. That's whiteness, guys. I'm not saying all Republicans are KKK. I am saying all the KKK members are in the Republican Party. You do the math. So anyway, their strategy is to sneak this in under y'all while y'all covered up and blinded by smokes and sound systems from this cookout this weekend. Most of y'all didn't even put a burger on the grill for Juneteenth, but you're about to miss something dangerous to your grandmom, your aunts, and some of y'all in some cases. Elections have repercussions, and we're suffering through them right now. War. This president launched without the way the Constitution says you're supposed to go to war. This week, Supreme Court trying to uproot or end birthright citizenship. That happened this week. The Republican Party, the Democratic Party, both trying to unify to support Eric Adams to end a progressive's chance of becoming New York's mayor, the youngest mayor ever in New York. The brother's like 33 years old. All of this is real. This is happening on our watch. And what are we doing about it? This is what I'm asking you. This is what Friday Words will be. I'll be asking you, what will you be doing about it? And just because you're off work on the weekends, don't mean you need to fall for the cap of MAGA over the weekend. Pay attention, y'all. Pop culture moment. Pop culture moment. My God. Jim Jones. I am so tired of Jim Jones. Listen, y'all. If you don't like rap music, this is not for you. But Jim Jones is a nothing rapper. Jim Jones was on Joe Budden. I'm sorry, not Joe Budden. He was on Fat Joe, someone I can't stand, and Jada Kiss podcast. And he said that he was better than Nas. He was better than Nas. Nasir Jones. This matters because Jim Jones is like pop culture. Nas is a social commentary. He's a critic of systems of oppression. He is a trumpet. He is a trumpet to black urban culture. That's what he is. A trumpet, like the trumpet from jazz, that his dad played. Let's just say that. Jim Jones, guys, has no platinum albums, but this man sat on that podcast and said he has more platinum albums than Nas. He has one platinum song, Ballin', trash, Drake type music, just party music. Ballin' is his only song that was platinum. Nothing else. Nothing from Jim Jones. Nothing. Nas has 5 platinum albums, and most of those that are platinum are either double or triple platinum. And I know commercial success does not equate to like what's good and what's best, but Nas is a poet lord of urban life. Whether he's kicking knowledge or he's in the streets. That was a diss from Jay-Z. Don't matter. The man is a social critic in a way that it is important. And what happens when everybody has a voice in our era and entertain Jim Jones is you water down the importance of people that show up in the way that Nas does to protect our culture. It is absolutely disgusting to see people laughing and joking at this. Hip hop is a protest language. Hip hop was created out of the loins and stress and frustration of Black and brown youth. And now we have people online playing with who Nas' legacy and what Nas' legacy is because of Jim Jones' stupidity. This is the problem when everybody has a platform. I don't want to silence anybody, but we can't be listening to everybody. Jim Jones is an idiot. And for that reason, he is my first weakling of the week. That dude is weak. He is weak man with toys. That man said, I promise to God, this is what that man said. That man said, because of his comment, he's made Nas more viral now than Nas ever been. Jim Jones is 10 years older than me, and he is on a damn podcast talking about a podcast from a podcaster about being viral. Nas started an entity, a venture capital entity, trying to buy the projects in which he was raised. Queensbridge Venture. Nas invested one of the early investors in Ring and so many other technologies. And this man is out here talking about being viral. If he's like Jim Jones this week sounded like an OnlyFans model. You sassy bastard, Jim Jones. You sassy bastard. You think Nas give a damn about being viral? I don't even think he has a damn social media account. And you are talking about virality. Who cares? You are a grown man who calls yourself a YN. You are 50 something. You are granddad age talking about you are YN. You the type of grown man that walks around with an 18-year-old girlfriend and ripped jeans, acting like you cool. Sit your old ass down before I put you in a retirement home. I will donate my wheelchair to you, Jim Jones. You are playing with black culture. You are making markers in time that can't be erased. People trying to measure our culture when we're gone will hear your stupidity and think it has valid standing, a footing, when it does not. You are muddying black history when you show up like this. And for that, you are a weakling of the week, boy. The second one has to be Donald Trump. Here's something the media didn't talk about, and it pisses me off. Donald Trump used this opportunity to bomb Iran to try to get a Nobel Peace Prize. People like, Mondale, what are you talking about? Donald Trump, if you see his immediate reaction after he dropped the bombs, after the bombs were dropped, this man literally dropped bombs and said, we need peace now. That was his tweet or his Truth Social post immediately the next day. We need peace now. After he bombed those people, that's what that man called for. He thought he was going to get nominated or win a peace prize. And if you don't believe me, just check his reaction. Check his reaction when Israel dropped bombs after he announced a peace treaty. He threw a temper tantrum. First he said these people have been fighting forever and they're stupid and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, is what he said to the media. And of course, conservative media was not upset that Donald Trump dropped the F-bomb like they are when Democrats curse. Like, let Jasmine Crockett curse. They're going to lose their damn mind. They're going to lose their mind. But Donald Trump dropped the F-bomb 9 o'clock in the morning while the kids eating their cereals and Eggo waffles. And nobody has a problem with it. But putting America at war with Iran against the intelligence community in an attempt to get a Nobel Peace Prize makes Donald Trump my second weakling of the week. You two idiots are on par. Y'all should go to Queens and play jump rope, double dutch specifically, and trip down every time you try to hop the rope. You guys are weak, and we see it. Mondale Robinson, mayor of Enfield, North Carolina, founder of Black Male Voter Project, and also a concerned citizen. Peace. I'm trying to end this stream, y'all.